Hello, everyone. We're doing our presentation on breakfast at Paramount. My name is Daniel Ty.
Jacob Grossman.
Carlos Mercado.
Laurie Demers.
Tyler Norsegard.
Yeah, so the summary we basically had is that we're a small seating diner with only 44 seats. Carryout has largely increased over our past few years, although it has affected us, well, it's helped our revenues, but it has negatively impacted our dining experience as a whole. So we have four options we need to consider. We either promote with DoorDash and expand our carryout operations. We continue as is with what we have. We can throttle back on our carryout during our peak busy times, or we can end our carryout altogether. So moving on to our case questions.
So there were many factors that contributed or detracted from dining customer service experiences waiting in line. They were mostly stemming from the unusual seating policy that's been put in place since the beginning, since the restaurant was established. So the policy is that the customer cannot sit down until they receive their food order. However, there is a table usually available once the customer receives their order. This policy causes the long lines, as discussed in this case. The typical customer would wait approximately an hour or sometimes even more. Unfortunately, there has been instances where overhungry customers would faint in line. Depending on the length of the line, the customers either balked, which they would not enter the line, or they reneged where they would join the line and then later leave. As a result, servers would offer beverages to customers waiting in line during peak times. Customer complaints were resolved by either having their orders comped or recooked. Carry-out orders from DoorDash increased customer wait time because their orders were prioritized over dine-in orders. Carry-out customers that also didn't have to wait in line and could sit anywhere, which also distracted from the dining experience. As you will see in the next slide, the restaurant has a long and narrow restaurant design, which caused bottlenecks between the kitchen and dining tables. This slowed waiting time. Customers and staff had to squeeze past each other. And then there would be a 180-degree turn where customers would have to read the menu on one board on one side, and then on the other side, watch as their food was prepared.
So now we must consider how we can, as the owner, redesign this process to improve this experience for everyone. So obviously we have two sets of customers now. We have our carry-in or our dine-in customers and our carry-out customers. I've come up with a solution to potentially split this line into two, as our carry-out customers now make up 10% of our customers. They could go into a line straight to that gold star seen on this graph here, and then continue our dine-in customers to have this line to go to the red star and then the gold star. I think this process will allow for more customers to get into the line as quickly as possible, as space is obviously really important to this restaurant. So we must be able to maintain that while being respectful for everyone in the vicinity. Also, we could allow for potential chefs to take on roles that would kind of hybrid between chef and carry out to maintain these carry out roles, so that we can get as many people their food as quickly as possible. We could also encourage ordering ahead in the Paramount. We can offer deals and discounts ahead so that we could make use of the space quicker. Even dine-in customers can order ahead so they can get their food and get out of line, so everyone can get the food as quickly as possible to negate this kind of bottleneck structure. And finally, we must reconsider how important this seating policy actually is to our core business. We can perform customer surveys, kind of just reviews, get the kind of baseline of what people think of this process as a whole, and see if it's even worth keeping. So moving on to our other questions.
So a high volume of customers and a comparatively low volume of seats has truly bottlenecked the ability to serve customers due to the restaurant seating policy. Currently, carryout only makes up approximately 10% of sales, but that continues to grow. But now regarding the seating policy, once customers even reach the front door, they're typically subject to an additional 45-minute wait. Um, which these waits, they were outside for already up to an hour, so these waits were beginning to get extremely excessive at this point. Um, so now going into a little bit of the data, we were able to estimate that the seating rate was 111 customers per hour. The cash register was able to serve 106 customers per hour, and the chefs are able to serve roughly 90 customers per hour. Um, so using this, we were able to determine that chefs were really unable to keep up with the increasing demand for indoor seating, which has contributed to extreme wait times for customers and inability to meet customer demand.
Using the chef's service rate of the 90 people per hour, or breaking up into 45 people per half hour as the data was provided to us, the diner was not able to keep up with the arrival rate of customers for the majority of the morning. Below here, we broke out how many people arrived at the particular times, how many reneged, how many were serviced, and how many were still in line at the end of that period, and try to find out, what was the actual length of the line period by period. As you can see here, 35 people showed up before the business opened. Another 45 showed up in the first half hour, leaving 80 people to be serviced in that half hour. Unfortunately, only 45 get served, 30 are still in line, and this cycles through where there's 30 in line, 35 arrived, 65 were then for that half hour to be serviced. And this goes on and on. They're unable to keep up. They were able to not. They're able to bring the line down at between 9:30 and 10 to only then get slammed with 92 people, which just allows them to just not able to keep up. When what happens with the arrival rate in relation to the service rate in general, when the arrival rate approaches the service rate, the average time and number of customers in the system and queue exponentially increases. When the arrival rate is equal to or greater than the service rate, this single channel queuing model is no longer valid, as some customers will never enter the system within the expected time. This just creates an infinite line. Here we just broke out, projected within the metrics mentioned before, if there's 5, 10, and so forth, arriving at the rate. And you can see down here, once we hit that 45 arrival max, the system starts to break down, and essentially the waiting line goes into affinity.
All right, to
Which
go
is
over.
great.
Oops, sorry.
Sorry, let me go. Just gonna bring this into the queuing model that we designed. We assigned some wages to the staff so that we could calculate a cost for the waiting time and the service, and we gave a waiting cost of $30. When we apply this into the model using, once again, that 90 customers per hour, we were able to get a total cost for the service of $1,300. And again, here you can see in this 10 to 10:30, the system breaks down and goes in infinity. The same with between 10 and 10:30, it also hits infinity, and the line just is never endingly increasing.
Okay, now to actually go into our recommendations for the owner. To reiterate the problem, we are considering 4 different options for the carryout orders. They are to sign on with DoorDash and start to promote it, to continue as is without promoting, to pull back on carry out during the peak times, or to eliminate it altogether. Based on the models that we performed, we are recommending one of two options. The first is to continue with the current business model as is, while pulling back on carry out during peak times. This is due to the current demand for dine-in not being able to be met with current staffing. Right now, they're able to serve 90 people per hour for chefs, and 106 people per hour at the register. So allowing for less carry out would be allowing for them to work on more of the dine-in service and to actually meet volume and reduce wait time in lines. The alternative option would be to continue with carry out without promoting it. And to do this, they would have to hire at least one more employee to work between the kitchen and cash register. As you can see on the table that we've provided, it would be increasing the number of chefs by half a person and the cash register by half a person. Just by making one change and adding one more employee, the Paramount would be able to serve 120 people per hour for the chefs and 132.5 people per hour at the registers. Keeping in mind that the max seating capacity remains at 111 people per hour for both models. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation. We look forward to reading your feedback in the discussion.